one who needs no introduction. But I am going to try to do it justice. She's a singer, songwriter, producer, and director. She has won 11 Grammys. She's the only female artist in history to win a Grammy Award for Album of the Year 3 times.
Well, hi guys.
This is how all my Q&As go.
Phenomenal. Thank you so much for wanting to be here with us today, and thank you for wanting to talk to me.
I'm really excited.
I'm so excited to talk to you because
I'm also nervous.
Really? I'm a little nervous too.
These people screaming is kind of
It's
weird.
it's better, you know, them screaming than if they're just sort of like skeptically silent.
Yeah.
It's preferable that they're doing this.
It's great.
So it's nothing you're doing. We're just. But we know each other because we're both part of the Aaron Dessner, the National Cinematic Universe.
The commencement speech, and everybody was like, how is she doing that and texting? Anyways, you're a pretty cool customer. So you said something that I'm sure everyone here knows, but it was really struck me as like, being the youngest person in every room for over a decade, and I was constantly being like told what to do. And I was like, right, I want to make a film about that, actually.
Really?
I mean, what a crazy thing to be you going through all that. And it seems like it gave you such a sensitivity to youth, younger people who have the power that aren't being given it. And then this film seems to be a lot about when you're in this strange youth situation that's both powerful and strong and has this vibrancy, but also has this deep vulnerability. I was like, oh, that's what she's kind of talking about, being the youngest person in the room. You had so much vulnerability, you were a child, and you had so much power, and how strange. So, okay, long questions.
That's such a thoughtful question and a thoughtful way to put it. I remember talking to you on the phone a couple days ago when we were talking about what inspires you to want to make a film, and you said something like, I only want to make a film if I'm the only person who could make it that way, with your insight and your experience. And I feel like making this short film, I think I gave myself permission to completely make that jump into making a narrative short film, because this is not a music video. We approached everything differently. And shooting it on 35mm and all the decisions that were made to create these characters and dive into this world. I really do write about girlhood a lot. There's a lot of girlhood woven through.
Yes!
And I'm very fascinated, and always have been, since I was in my mid-20s, with this phase of becoming a young woman, where you're this very fragile and vulnerable age. I think 19 and 20 is such an interesting and profound experience for a young woman, because it's like you have one foot still in girlhood, and yet society and the world is telling you you're an adult, and there are so many opportunities for you to lose your girlhood and have it taken from you, and it's inevitable that that happens when you become an adult, but the ways in which it can happen when you are in some ways still so unformed as just this piece of clay, this person who hasn't cultivated their life yet. They don't have, they don't have a coffee machine in their kitchen. They don't have these tastes that adults 10 years older or more have cultivated at that point, because we spend our 20s searching and being so curious.
It also seems like what you're always talking about is like your boundaries of yourself and your selfhood versus what you're giving someone else.
Absolutely. I think that what I wanted to make was a film about an effervescent, curious young woman who ends up completely out of her depth. You know, when you're like walking into the ocean and it's so fun, the idea of going out so deep that your feet don't touch the ground, but you can get swept away. And I wanted to show that extremely intense thing that can happen when you go out into the world and you're so curious about all these experiences, and you're so, this character, she's so idealistic. And that is actually one of the forces that I think brings these two characters together, because I see him, I named them her and him. So he is a character who has been through things, has had experiences with humiliation and setbacks and shame and bad news and bad luck, and these experiences have sort of made him feel like there's a disconnect between him and her. But he's cultivating this idealism, this fresh, wide-eyed approach to life, just bounding into new experiences, is also such a draw. There's something so, I wanted it to feel like them falling together was inevitable, and them falling apart was just as inevitable. And the things that made them come together, I wanted it to feel like there were these forces at play. And they could not stop from colliding, and they couldn't stop from being dismantled. So, I don't know.
You're really such a writer-director.
Woo!
That's so beautifully put, and I think you really achieved that in the piece. And you really remind me of talking to a writer-director, because you're just all about the story and what you want to communicate with these people's inner lives and emotions.
Thank you.
That's so. That'll go far.
Oh, thanks. I love this John Cassavetes quote where he says, I've never seen a helicopter explode in the sky. I've never seen someone blow someone's head off. So why would I make a film about that? What I have seen is people destroy themselves in the littlest of ways. I'm just like, oh. I felt that one.
Back to your commencement speech.
Woo!
I'm gonna save my favorite part for a little bit.
Yeah, Dr. Swift!
But there's another.
Woo!
We are all literary chameleons, and I think it's fascinating.
Yes.
It's a continuation of the idea that we are so many things all the time. Like I was like, whoa, what is she talking about? That's amazing.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah. Is that alive in this story? Or is that just alive in your career and what you're
Yes.
doing right now with the directing?
I love talking to you. So the fact that Sadie's character is a writer, it's sort of foreshadowed throughout. It's one of the narrative structures that it's one of the narrative devices that I loved sprinkling through the short film. So we start out and there's a Neruda quote, which absolutely destroyed me and still does. It's a violent thing to read something that poignant. So we start with that, and that's in reference to the fact that she is a writer. Then we see this scene that foreshadows her. She says, "I feel like I made you up. Like, are you real? I really feel like I made you up." Foreshadows the fact that one day she will write a book and she will sort of fictionalize his character. His main character in a novel. We worked
The audience
in
is
this.
chills.
Yes!
We worked with this amazing typography studio in London called Fraser Muggeridge, and they created this very unique font to create these chapter markers. So these chapter markers, you see in the issues from this novel, kind of tied together. Those chapter markers were chapters for which you will get right. So the reason we see things like those are chapters.
Oh my God.
But there's more. We're following her through this hallway with a Steadicam, and we pan, and we.
Welcome to our concert. Okay, so let's just get to the gossip or having her direct you guys. What's she really like as a director?
I mean, it's so funny, like I was listening to you backstage and when you were talking about sending us the treatment that you did and how you're like, oh, I hope they think I'm like capable of doing this. It's like, of course we thought you were capable.
Yeah, I agree with, like, you know, when you said earlier, she's such a natural, Taylor's such a writer-director. And she always has been, she's always been such a storyteller. Like, and I've always believed, like, literally, you know, one of the truest storytellers of our generation, you know, she's a poet. I obviously knew she could execute, you know, something that she wanted to tell, as she always has, right? And then as soon as you have your first conversation with her, it's just a no, right?
And she had an answer to every question.
Of course.
Okay, so often writer-directors are kind of controlling with actors sometimes. Never me, but I'm not. Well, but the performance feels so alive, feels so organic, feels like there's two energy balls bouncing off each other in different ways. So how did it roll, like, on the set?
I mean, it really just was such an intimate, comfortable environment. And like, there's so much power in that, and just making your actors feel so at home and giving them like full creative freedom to just kind of like explore and having like, you know, coming from shows that are very like technical and there's lots happening. This was so different than anything I had done because it was like the room was lit and you could move wherever you wanted. And it wasn't like there wasn't a set script or movement that you had to stick to. So there was just so much freedom, and that's, I think, how we got like such real moments. And there's no, I don't know, we didn't really have to hold anything back.
Yeah, she possesses these innate qualities in a director that I feel like usually are always tied to experience. Trust, her ability to make a decision in the moment, her confidence, knowing what she wants, allowing her actors to just like, you know, construct the scene on their own. You know, there's always usually like, it's always a fight. You always have to fight, you know, to let you, like, let us go, let us just go, you know. And they'll be like, well, just give us one, like, stick to the script, you know, like, her ability to just be like, go, you know, is like so confident, so great.
That's the gaslighter.
I think it was Dylan. I reached out to you guys in July to shoot in October. So we had a lot of time to talk about what we wanted to
exactly
accomplish.
what she wanted to do and
It
what
was
she wanted to get.
Dylan's idea to script out
But
a
the
few
on-set
scenes,
sort of
script it out.
ability
The
to operate the freedom
just
to
and when I
create
say
that
script it
environment,
out,
that
what
is
you saw them do,
special.
that's
And you feel like
was
they
the
did
improv.
Yes.
Yeah. No, it was a great because it was like a nice template for us to realize, okay, they're breaking up. Why are they breaking up? Okay, they're arguing. Why are they arguing? What was the catalyst? And I think I hadn't decided whether I wanted to have these to break up the music and have these scenes, and I didn't know which one I would want to use. And I don't think that we had actually decided if this was going to be in the film the way that it was.
No, I didn't think it was gonna.
So it kind of, the naturalism, moving around this kitchen, having this realistic fight that, you know, Rena's in there with Steadicam, argument. Me and Saul and I were sitting behind the monitor just like punching each other's arms. Just the whole time we're watching them do this, it's like sparks were bouncing off of them or something. Like, you guys were absolutely
Sparks fly.
blew me away. And I can't, I'll never forget.
It's such a complex dynamic, like sort of like relational thing that like, you know, was always the real goal to achieve, you know, which was so exciting because it's one of the hardest things I think to execute because we sort of realize in the moment it's not something that can be written. How people argue, how we repeat ourselves. We go in circles, you know. And you see that in a script, usually like, the producer's like, why are they repeating themselves? You know, he says this line 5 times, and you take it out, you know. And that's what makes it though.
Because you're trying to communicate.
That's how
the other
people
person
speak.
isn't hearing you say it this way. Maybe you say it louder.
Yeah.
Maybe you say it with 2 words different.
Yeah.
You're trying to be heard. It's the failure to communicate.
Yes.
So.
Yes, yes,
Really
yes.
good directing there. So when I was watching it, I could really feel this like funny relationship between Sadie and Taylor through the camera.
Yes.
Both back and forth to each other. Like I felt like you were performing for her, and you were watching her in a way that like only God or a mother could. I felt like, whoa, there's a tie.
Whoa.
But then also to you, there was obviously you were playing a slightly antagonistic character to the heroine.
Slightly.
Right? But there's a lot of love and respect and sort of care presented to you, even while if you're doing things that are ultimately not helpful to this person. So I respected that balance. It had a real mature balance to it. But am I right at all about like when you're watching her perform this story? It felt like such a tie.
It is true that most of the time that I was at the monitor watching Sadie perform, I was physically clenching my chest. That is true. There would be, especially these scenes where, you know, she was bawling and had completely gotten herself to this place where she was devastated, and everyone on set was devastated too, and we were all sort of with you in that moment, and you were, I think the physicality of how excruciatingly painful it looked for you and felt for us as a crew. It was so remarkable, whatever you did to get to that place. It blew me away, and also every time I watch it, it's actually hard for me to watch it, especially when you're crying so hard that it's concerning. It's really upsetting in the best way, and you know, just I do go on that journey every time I watch back. I'm so proud of it, and all of it is down to the naturalism you guys have together, the realism of your chemistry. It was all down to you two, really. So thank you for trusting me to. I'm
just a muggle non-performer. So when I work with actors, I'm just like so high. I'm like, oh my god, we can talk like this, and
He's so
It's amazing.
It's really
It's
crazy,
amazing.
so chaotic, transformative thing, especially coming from personal material, which I feel like this really is. So tell me more about what you're doing. How did you measure that? Like, because you are. I mean, I'm associating you two in the story. She's your avatar in the story.
That is cute.
Yeah. What's that one? Or how'd that work? Like, I thought you did such a good job of like showing things that were negative, but in a way that like kind of like had a love and a respect.
Well,
What did you guys talk about in terms of
we
directing
talked a
acting?
great deal about this, I think.
Yeah, the first conversation we ever had about it, you said to me, I'll never forget it, you said, I need this guy to be likable even though we are going to be executing some really, really unlikable things. And that is, you said, I was like, yeah, no problem. It's just like such a nuanced perception that Taylor has into humanity and humans and how we operate, right? Because
yes.
it's not black and white. It's not, it's not a monster, he's just a narcissistic, egomaniacal child. I watch a lot of trash reality television. I'm obsessed with human dynamics. So I was just like, yes. And in contrast to Sadie's, like, beautifully pure.
Oh.
It's just so pure. And again, not to Taylor too of this, I don't know, I just feel like it was such a fit, and the age difference and it's ironic because, there's so much youth that you feel pureness, right? But he is, ultimately the child.
No, I actually kind of inverted their maturity. Watching it, because her center, whatever it is, your groundedness, even in your vulnerability, is so mature, I guess is the word.
Yes.
And your character's thing was more spinning and
All over the place.
Yes.
It's a fucked up journey being a guy, let's be honest.
Yeah.
Woo!
You're spinning in guyness.
Oh my god. Oh my god. I love
Can I
this.
go back to your commencement speech? I love your commencement. I think you unconsciously wrote a letter to your future director self.
Oh my god.
I love that you said this to these young people. I was like, kind of teared up, and I was like, I gave you a big ride-on from my house. So she said this to all these people graduating. I love this. Let me get my glasses.
God, I
In
love
your
it.
life, as a film director, you will inevitably misspeak, trust the wrong people, underreact, overreact on set with everyone in your crew. It's gonna happen. Hurt the people who didn't deserve it. That totally happens. Overthink when you're writing and trying to figure out what you're trying to do. Not think at all. That happens. Self-sabotage. We talked about that already. That's so fun. And we do it, I shared some of my doubts about myself with Taylor just immediately. And she just jumped right into like, oh yeah. And then surprised me, it was
What are
beautiful.
your toxic traits?
I love that. That was great. You're going to create a reality where only your experience exists. Ruin perfectly good moments for yourself and others. Deny any wrongdoing. Not take the steps to make it right. Feel very guilty. Let the guilt eat at you. Hit rock bottom. Finally address the pain you caused. Try to do better next time. Rinse, repeat. And I'm not going to lie. These mistakes will cause you to lose things. What a beautiful thing to say about you. All applies to directing.
It's so perceptive, and when you phrase it like that, me kind of stepping out of what it is that I usually do, which is writing songs and singing them. It is this kind of vulnerable moment where you're sort of on the precipice of trying something new and just really hoping that you do everything perfectly, but it is important to remind yourself that you shouldn't do everything perfectly because you need to learn, you need to grow. I'm also extremely aware of my privilege when it comes to being a female filmmaker because I was able to finance this film myself. That's not. And so I think I have to constantly be aware that it's as much of a exciting challenge as it is for me to be doing something new. I also understand that it's still extremely hard for women to make films, and just always keeping one eye on that reality and realizing how lucky I am to be so radical and wonderful, and really I'm just trying to sort of listen to the heartbeat of what fans want. It's so exciting to got to do this for this long, to have, you know, this many memories, and I'm just kind of listening a lot and having fun and making stuff, and it's just very cool that they want me to keep doing it.
So speaking of exciting and what the fans want and listening, I think we heard some rumors that
You kept referring to this as a concert, and like, it could be.
Album on the counter, cheeks were turning red.
Used to be a little kid with glasses in a
twin-size bed. Your mother's telling stories about you on the t-ball team, talking about your past, thinking your future was me, and you were tossing me the carpet, while patriarchy, laying on the ground. You were always skipping town. And I was thinking on the drive down, anytime now, he's gonna say it's love. You never called it what it was, till we were dead and gone and buried. Check the pulse and come back swearing it was safe. After 3 months in the grave, and then you wondered where it went to as I reached for you, but all I felt was shame, and you held my life with a frame. I know it's long gone, and there was nothing else I could do. I forget about you long enough to forget what I needed to. Middle of the night, dance around the kitchen in the refrigerator light. Down the stairs, I was there, I remember it all too well. Here we are again, nobody had to know. You kept me like a secret, but I kept you like an oath. Sacred prayer, and we swear to remember it all too well. all's well that ends well, but I'm in a new hell every time. You double-crossed my mind. Said if we had been closer in age, maybe it would have been fine. And that made me want to die. The idea you had of me, who was she? A never needy, ever lovely jewel. The shine reflects on you. Now we've been in a party back and some actress asking me what happened to you. That's what happened to you. You charmed my dad with self-effacing jokes. Sipping coffee like you're on a late night show. Then he watched me watch the front door all night, willing you to come. And he said it's supposed to be fun. Turn 21. Still trying to find it after plaid shirt days and nights when you made me your own. Now you mail back my things and I walk home alone. But you keep my old scar from that very first week. 'Cause it reminds you of innocence and it smells like me. You can't get rid of it. 'Cause you remember it all too well. Your lovers say my age from when your Brooklyn broke my skin and bones. I'm a soldier who's returning half her weight and did the twin flame bruise pain. She been cold. I still remember the first fall of snow and how it glistened as it fell. Between us, do you remember it all too well? Just between us, I remember it all too well. In my head, I was there, I was there. Down the stairs, I was there, I was there. Sacred prayer, I was there, I was there. It was rare to remember it. And in my head, I was there, I was there.